Good afternoon. Today I'm very happy to welcome an artist and filmmaker from the United States, Ken Holmes. He's been in many films, television series, and also he's the creator of short films, Zoom short films on YouTube. You can discover the channel as well with many short films realized by Zoom using the style like it's video call. Hello, Ken. How are you? Thank you very much for joining the call.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm great. How are you doing?
Everything is fine. Thank you very much. Ken, before we talk about your recent projects and upcoming project, tell me about how did you start venturing into show business?
Well, I've always been interested in theater and the arts. Ever since I was a kid, I was going to plays and watching films. And I guess when I was 12 years old, my dad encouraged me to audition for a college production of Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor. And I got in and I was hooked from theater from then on. And so I was just doing all kinds of community theater and also some college theater as well. And then when I went to college, I majored in theater arts with a minor in writing. And after I graduated, I think I was encouraged by a friend of mine to audition for a horror movie. And we traveled out and we got small roles as gangsters. And I just got kind of hooked in the film world, which is just so different from theater. I love them both, but film is so it just lasts forever, whereas theater is ephemeral. So I got hooked in the worlds of both, but right now I'm focusing primarily in acting and writing movies.
Very good. And I see since your beginning, you did a lot of short films as well before creating your own shorts, right?
Yes.
And they are
Yeah.
in different. I see there are some of drama, comedy, horror, right?
Well, my interest is in telling stories, and in telling
Mhm.
stories, I feel like there's a lot of different ways you can do it. So I want to embrace all the different, as many different genres as I can. I love comedy, drama. I think that's primarily what I've worked in. But I also enjoy working on horror and just anything I can. Some of my short films have included recently a horror movie called Shatter, which is
Mhm.
about a woman who kind of hears a voice in her head. It may or may not be physical, or it may just be part of her consciousness, and it's telling her what to do. I also did a series called Old Hearts Cafe, which is about these characters that go in and out of this artist cafe, and it's a comedy. I play all the different characters and also myself. It's I've only done about I think it was two or four episodes. It was supposed to be ongoing, but right now I'm focusing on the web series Zoom Shorts, which
Mhm.
we co-created with Karen Klami and my dad Burnham Holmes, and it was Karen's idea, and she wanted to make a show. It was born out of the COVID, out of the pandemic, and she wanted to create a show where we could have people from all over the world, because we were all social distancing at that point. People from all over the
Yeah.
world could self-tape monologues like we were talking over Zoom, but we wanted to avoid the like the Brady Bunch boxes. We wanted to avoid that and just focus on one person at a time. So what her idea was to just have somebody talking like I'm talking right now and not letting the other person speak, and then the other person
Mhm.
would eventually speak and be like, okay, now you're going to let me talk. Okay, here's what I think about what you just said. And
Mhm.
in the beginning, it was very bare bones. I did the first episode, which was called The Closing Line. But ever since then, we've been kind of experimenting with different ways of telling our stories, and we've been playing around a lot more with the production values have gotten a little better. But it's been a blast, and I hope to continue doing it. Even though it was born out of the pandemic, I think it can continue for many years.
Yes, but really, since you mentioned your father, he Burnham, he's already writer, right?
Yes,
For a long time, and he appears in one of the shorts, right?
he actually appeared in many of them. In
Many.
addition to being a writer and director of, I think he directed 5 episodes, but he's acted in several of them because he's
Yes.
also a very good performer. And
Yes.
one of the ones he was in was Cultured, actually, which was starring our mutual friend Hasna, um,
Yes.
and her sister Karima was also in one with
Yes.
me called Long Distance Runaround. But
Yes.
yes, my father has been in a bunch of them. And yeah, he's a very good actor, in addition to being, of course, a phenomenal writer.
Yes. Accidentally, of course, Karima, I know her for a long time. She lived in Egypt and she studied theater, and I attended some of her theater in Egypt before going back to her home land, Morocco. And of course, her father is a very renowned theater producer,
Yes.
uh, and they are all like an artistic family. And her sister Hasna, and of course, you worked in the shows with Maria Sofia Palmieri.
Yes, we did.
Uh,
Yes, I did.
yes, and I interviewed her like a couple of weeks ago as well. Uh, my question, Ken, how did you started to look and cast the roles for the shorts worldwide? How did you find your talents?
Well, each episode is a little bit different. In the beginning, I would cast it before I would write it. We all work a little differently, so I'll just talk about my process, I guess, first.
Hmm.
I would cast it before I'd write it, and then I would write kind of a very bare bones script. I didn't even have dialogue in the beginning. I just wrote scenarios where I basically told the actors what I wanted them to talk about, and they would improvise based on the outline I gave them. And of course, there'd be multiple takes so we could get it right. Um, but that was how I did it in the beginning. As it's gone along, there have been scripts with more traditional scripts with actual monologues written out for people to memorize. But that's how I did it in the beginning, and I would cast my friends. And as it's progressed, we've won numerous awards all over the world. So people have reached out to us now, including people that I haven't even met, who are interested in being a part of it. And I'm very open to that. I'm open to as many people as want to be involved, because I think that makes the show interesting, especially as each episode tells a different story. I think one of the questions people who haven't seen the show wonder about it is this like a series where we have reoccurring characters, or are they more like short films? And the answer is actually they're more like short films. Each episode tells a different story. We do have reoccurring themes, and once in a while a character will pop up who was in a previous episode or will be referenced. My cafe, Old Hearts Cafe, has been my fictional cafe, Old Hearts Cafe, has been referenced in a couple episodes. Some of the characters have been referenced in a couple episodes. However, you don't need to watch the episodes in order to understand them. Each episode is unique, and we have recurring cast. We kind of have a core cast. Maria is one of the core cast. She appears in multiple episodes, but she, along with the other actors, all play different roles for the most part in each episode.
Yes,
And
and
Maria's episode, actually,
of course,
I'll give a shout out to one of Maria's main episodes, which is called "I Love You, Maria." It That was one of our most popular episodes. She co-wrote it, and she also came up with the idea for it. And it was a very meaningful story about these two a couple who the Sophia played by Maria Sophia finds out that she's pregnant with a child who may be special needs, and it's about this couple and dealing with thinking about the future and a very unplanned pregnancy, and they're a career couple, so they also have to think about how this affects their career, how this affects their relationship. And it was a very meaningful episode. And we're actually planning on doing a feature film version of it as well, but we're still in the pre-production stages of that.
very good. And right now, tell me, can you told me that some of the shorts have won
Mhm.
awards and also been in festival. How do you see right now? I mean, the film production like these one Zoom shorts, I mean, internet film production, mobile films. How do you see? Do you think this kind of films will be popular? Will be like an alternative way of filmmaking?
I think they already are kind of another way of filmmaking. There have been some films which are have kind of gone on to I don't know if I'd say mainstream success, but I've seen films like in the theater that are shot on mobile devices. Um,
Yes.
Tangerine was one of the most famous ones, or one of the early ones. Um, there was another one that I just saw recently that came out. I think it was last year, called what was it? Language Lessons, I think it was called, about learning Spanish over Skype, which was a very interesting film. So I'm already seeing a lot of movies doing this. I think it is.
Yes.
I don't know that it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna replace the traditional way that movies are made, but I think it is another way of telling a story. And one of the
Mhm.
things I do like about it, I do fear that it might get a little gimmicky and overused. So that's one of the fears of it. But one of the things I do like about it is that it is a way for emerging talent to be able to tell stories. Because for so long there were people with ideas, but they had no ways of getting their ideas out there. Maybe they don't have the money to have fancy cameras or to have good film equipment. And now all of a sudden we we're we're walking around with a movie studio in our pocket now. And so I do think it is a good way of emerging talent to get their voices out there. And because, due to the internet, we all have the means to put our work out there. We can put it up on YouTube, as we're doing with Zoom Shorts, or Vimeo. And now there's streaming services everywhere. I don't want to make it sound like it's all positive. There are negative aspects to this new world we're living in, but the positive outlook of it is that we get to hear more diverse voices, and we get to hear voices that at one time we never would have heard, to be honest.
Great. And Ken, right now, beside Zoom Shorts, I've seen you have other projects as an actor, as a director coming up.
Mhm.
What can you tell us about them?
Well, actually, my main job is as an actor. I've done, I don't know, a couple hundred movies or something as an actor. I'm working on a couple projects I can't really talk about. One is for Netflix, but I
Great,
also have
great.
done. I think I have some episodes of Law and Order that I've done, that I've worked on, and a couple other TV shows. One of the Actually, I will say one of the most recent shows I worked on was for Apple TV, and I just had a very small featured role in the show
Yeah.
called We Crash with Anne Hathaway and Jared Leto, and that was a really fun show to work on. I got to work with Anne Hathaway, and she's a wonderful person to collaborate with. Played theater games with her, which was a lot of fun, and it's always fun watching people like Annie, how they work, and their process. And of course, Jared Leto is also in the show, and he's famously a method actor. So that was kind of fascinating to watch him walk around completely in character. Whatever you think about method acting in its extreme form, it is fascinating to watch somebody doing that. Um,
Yes.
we
And
crashed on Apple TV.
yes. And Zoom shorts. Do you plan to shoot more in the upcoming months?
Absolutely. We've had 3 seasons so far. We recently ended our third season, so we're on a hiatus right now. Karen
Hmm.
and Burnham, my dad, are working on a musical called Trumpleton, which will be off Broadway,
Hmm.
and so they are focusing on that right now. So it might be a little while, but
Hmm.
we will start going into our fourth season very soon. I think Karen already has some episodes that she's working on, and I'm sort of in the writing stages right now. But yes, we are definitely planning on going into season 4 as soon as we are able to.
This is great.
And
Ken, I want to
seasons one
thank you.
through three, I will
Yeah,
just plug real quick. Seasons 1 through 3 are
yeah,
on
yeah,
YouTube, so definitely check them out. It's Zoom Shorts on YouTube.
yeah,
Uh,
yes. It's very easy
yeah,
to find.
very easy. Yeah,
Yes.
although you
Ken,
might
I
get
want.
some ads
Yeah.
for shorts when you look up Zoom Shorts. I have found that.
Yes. Yes. And of course, people can look for your name as well on YouTube, Ken Holmes, and they can find the films as well.
Yes.
Yes, this is great. I want to thank you very much for this interview
Oh, thank you.
during the like, and best of luck in your upcoming projects. I look forward for the next Zoom shorts, and also to see you on your projects on streaming and also on stage and feature films. And we hope we can meet next time I visit New York.
That would be wonderful. Yes, I'd love that.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Ken. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's been a blast.
Th- Thank you likewise. Have a good weekend and best wishes.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye bye.